At our design centers around the globe, experts work together to design sophisticated integrated circuits, like microprocessors, high-end graphic processors, and other chips. This is how we create them. We start with silicon wafers. The wafers are cut from huge monocrystals grown from purified silicon melt, which is essentially melted quartz sand. The result is a perfect silicon lattice, or frame, into which transistors will later be fitted. Since dust and impurities would ruin these flawless silicon crystals, our wafers are created in a clean room environment that is more than 100,000 times cleaner than an operating room, in a building that's as big as 2 soccer fields. Each wafer will contain billions of small current switches, which act as tiny transistors. Making the chip pattern starts off much the same way a photograph is made. The silicon disc is coated with a light-sensitive material called the resist. We then use ultraviolet light to imprint the circuit patterns onto the wafer. These patterns can now be used as a template to make chips. Transferred patterns will be exposed to ion implantation that will form the transistors. Billions of transistors come together to form the chips. The electrical properties of the transistors are created during this ion implantation. Silicon is a semiconductor, which means that its conductivity can change. Special atoms are injected into the silicon structures. Small numbers of these special atoms will help change the silicon semiconductor so that it will be able to conduct electricity. The next step is all about copper. Before the copper is added into the trenches or grooves, we first add a barrier layer to help avoid short circuits and guarantee reliability. The trenches are then filled with copper to create the interconnects or wires, and the excess copper is ground down to the edges of the trenches. These very fine interconnect wires link up billions of separate transistors to form integrated circuits. The widths of these wires is super tiny, just a few nanometers, or about 1/10,000th the width of a human hair. The equivalent of many kilometers of these wires link up 100 billion transistors throughout these integrated circuits, all in a space that is no larger than a fingernail. When completed, the chips on the wafer are cut apart using the finest saw blades. They are then bonded to a frame which is sealed with a cover. These chips may be used in thousands of things, like cell phones and computers. Global Foundries is the first truly global semiconductor foundry, with labs in Germany, Singapore, and the United States. The state-of-the-art multi-core processors that Global Foundries is creating today are used in tons of products that you may recognize, from computers and smartphones to drones and self-driving cars.